My boyfriend says he's a monster straight out of a horror game. I don't believe it. What kind of monster cooks and does laundry for me every day and even flirts, begging me for kisses? Later on, I got dragged into a terrifying and twisted horror dungeon game. Beneath his body, those black tentacles kept teasing mine. He smiled softly and kissed me. Now do you believe me? My boyfriend vanished again. Every now and then, he disappears for several days. He says he's a monster from the horror game who occasionally has to patrol the scary dungeons. I don't buy it for a second. Ha! What kind of monster boyfriend is so filial and attentive like him? Who would faithfully wash clothes and cook daily for his girlfriend, and even want to steal little kisses? Every night I'm tormented by him mercilessly. One night, I just couldn't take it anymore and put on the lead suit. He always goes away for so long. Is there someone else waiting for him out there? No, if you want to break up, just say it directly. Don't give me that baby nonsense. He lifted one leg a bit, his breath high and teasing by my ear, as if enchanted, then synchronized with him instantly. Hearing him laugh softly in a low voice, I suddenly realized something was off. I kicked him away. Let's talk seriously. Stop using cute pet names to dodge the question. I'm not lying to you. Next time, I'll quickly deal with those players and come back to you earlier, okay? Baby, don't be mad, please. He pressed close again, gently kissing, nuzzling my lips. Even though I knew all his words were lies, there's no such thing as a horror game in this world, right? But looking at the man before me, so handsome it could make others bleed from the nose, and seeing him pamper me like that, I couldn't help but soften. He's so handsome, how could I resist? Then next time remember to come back early, otherwise you'll have to wait and beg on your knees in front of your beloved wife. Since that night, I'd been wearing the lead suit for over a month without going home. He's never disappeared this long before. The longest was a week at most, and he'd return. My calls went unanswered. I was starting to worry, but soon I no longer had strength left to think about him. I have no idea why I suddenly got sucked into a horror game. Wait, the terror hadn't even set in when a cold, emotional electronic voice sounded in my ear. Welcome, player, to the Yulin Ancient Castle Dungeon. Mission: locate a missing expedition team lost in this castle many years ago and uncover the true story behind that incident. Difficulty S rank. Dungeon starting immediately. Please prepare. I stared dumbfounded as drastic changes unfolded before my eyes. The castle walls turned old and decayed. Hanging from the castle bells was a massive bell that felt simultaneously sacred and solemn, yet bore an indescribable desolate loneliness. At the same time, two others appeared by my side. I looked at them, but none of us understood where this was. Just now a voice said I'd entered a horror game. One was a slightly foolish-looking chubby boy, panicking and looking around like he had no idea where on earth we were. I don't have time for horror games, growled a delivery guy standing nearby, pulling out his phone only to find no signal. I have a delivery to make and that damn customer's been calling non-stop. The other guy, a sipper, cursed non-stop as he vanished into the mist surrounding us. I furrowed my brow. Nothing before me seemed like a dream. Could the horror game world really exist? Suddenly, I shouted to the delivery guy who just rushed into the fog, "Don't go into the mist." But it was already too late. The moment the delivery man stepped into the mist, some black flickering light flashed. He screamed, then instantly turned into a haze of blood, vanishing in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a creepy chewing sound echoed from the fog, evoking images of monsters feasting. The chubby boy collapsed. Face pale, something in the mist sent shivers down my scalp and cold chills through my whole body. Unconsciously, I recalled what Gumaki had once said: the mist in the horror world traps players within a certain area. Anyone trying to escape violates the game rules and will be torn to bits by monsters in the fog. I joked with him back then. "So, have you killed a lot of people already?" He didn't even look and replied, "Too many to remember." Now recalling this gave me goosebumps. Could my boyfriend really be a cannibal monster from the horror game? After I explained the misrule, the chubby boy's eyes darkened with despair. "So that means we can't get out?" I looked around. The mist clung tightly to us. Other than entering the ancient castle, there was no way out. Looks like we had to complete this dungeon mission to survive. The chubby boy trembled, nearly in tears. "So we have to go into the castle now? Let's go." I took a deep breath, bracing myself for the unknown. All I could do was try to stay calm. Is Gumaki here? What's his true identity in this place? Is he really a man-eating monster? At that moment, somewhere out of sight, the comment section erupted. The Yulin Castle Dungeons rank heard it's super difficult, with an insanely high death rate. Recently, all dungeons have gotten tougher. The big boss has gone mad, scaring everyone. I'd also heard that in less than an hour, an entire team was wiped out by the big boss. Ahaha, look, 3 new players just entered. So unlucky. This was the first time I'd seen new players thrown into an S-rank dungeon. One had already died true to the S-rank's reputation. Without a veteran guiding them, they'd all perish. That girl seemed calm and knew the miss rules. Could she be a veteran? No, the screen clearly labeled her as a new player, but she was smart. Hope she doesn't meet the big boss too soon and survives a bit longer. Once inside the castle, I realized the interior was much bigger than it appeared from outside. The air was damp and musty, the castle was dark, but I could tell the first floor was a huge banquet hall, probably used often by nobles. I noticed a huge painting hanging on the wall at the end of the hallway, a portrait of many people clustered together. Each face displayed vague terror, as if trapped and struggling, but unable to escape the painting's frame. The chubby boy trembled, too scared to move forward. I frowned, feeling one face in the painting looked familiar, so I stepped closer to examine. The chubby boy, frozen in fear, had no choice but to follow. Before I could see clearly, a fearful voice rang from above. Why are you still downstairs? It's almost midnight. Hurry upstairs or you'll be late. Almost simultaneously, the castle bell chimed. My heart raced with every beat. A strong instinct told me danger was near. Goosebumps erupted, and chills ran through me. Before I could see who was above, I grabbed the trembling chubby boy, and we dashed upstairs. The bell stopped ringing just before we died from the shock. The chubby boy made it safely to the second floor. That was intense. A bespectacled player stood there. He was the one who caught us earlier. If you'd been a second later, you'd be dead. He panted heavily and also took a deep breath and faced him. I was about to ask, why did the whole castle suddenly light up? Suddenly, the huge crystal chandelier above lit up. The castle, once gloomy and ruined, transformed into a lavish spectacle. At the same time, the empty banquet hall on the first floor filled with lively music, singing and dancing. Opulent dining tables stood on marble floors under shimmering lights, with beautiful medieval-dressed nobles raising glasses and feasting. Men and women glided on the dance floor, coming close, dancing together. The chubby boy gasped. What's happening? The player sighed, explaining, every night at midnight before the castle bell chimes, all players must leave the first floor banquet, or else, before he finished, the castle gates opened again. Another player entered, this time. It was a skinny young man, staring around in confusion, clearly shocked by what he saw. A graceful, beautiful woman stepped out from the banquet center, inviting him to dance. He blushed, hesitated to refuse, but she smiled and pulled him to the dance floor. The rhythm sped up and up. The young man sensed something was wrong, but it was too late. The woman's limbs twisted horribly as she danced, but her smile remained. With every movement, the young man's limbs warped until he knelt in an unnatural, grotesque posture. The crowd panicked, rushing to tear him apart. His screams echoed throughout the hall, reaching a terrifying climax. The 3 of us watched it all unfold from the second floor. The chubby boy was so scared he collapsed. I felt frozen to the core. If we'd been a second later, we'd be in that young man's place. The bespectacled player joked, can't believe the dungeon is halfway done, and they still let newcomers in. Those 2 coolest guys had to be newbies too. Right? I nodded. He looked incredulous. How could that be? This is an S-rank dungeon. Newcomers usually start at B or C rank. Only after passing some dungeons are they chosen for S rank. He examined us carefully again, confirming we weren't veterans. His gaze held a hint of sympathy. You two are really unlucky. Suddenly, chaos erupted in the banquet below. The veteran saw something and took a step back, his face pale. My heart stopped for a moment. What's wrong? He left the room. Who else but the dungeon's terrifying and twisted big boss? I shivered and looked down. A man in black formal wear appeared in the banquet, elegant, proud, but with a strangely gloomy aura. Tall and lanky, his boots clacked loudly on the floor, sending my heartbeat racing with each step. He reached the center. swirling the red liquid in his glass infuriately. I stared at his back, feeling strange. Why did the big boss silhouette look exactly like my boyfriend, Gumaki, who hadn't come home for a month? Meanwhile, the woman who had twisted limbs earlier had returned to normal. She cradled the bloody head of the recently slain player, offering it to the man like a treasured gift, her face shy. The chubby boy trembled violently and began vomiting. I said something was wrong, but it was too late. The man heard the noise and slowly turned up to the second floor. Oh no! The bespectacled player reacted instantly. The big boss spotted him and immediately dragged the chubby boy and me into a blind spot. Still, I managed eye contact with the man below. His gaze was dark blue, cold and chilling, as if 1,000 cold venomous snakes coiled around me. My scalp tingled, my heart pounded wildly. I couldn't believe my eyes. Except for his eyes, the big boss looked exactly like my boyfriend Gumaki. Meanwhile, the comment storm exploded. Night already? Why did the big boss show up so early? Isn't he supposed to appear only in the last 2 days? Without the veteran players' help, those newbies would have died minutes ago. No wonder S-rank dungeons aren't easy. Am I the only one who thinks this big boss is handsome? I swear I'm less obsessed with guys since I saw this one. When he kills, he's merciless, right? Wait, don't say more. Heard this big boss is super pervy, moody, and unpredictable. Lighting incense for these players now. The chubby boy and I got led into a room by the man with glasses. The chubby boy bowed his head in self-reproach. Sorry, I almost got us spotted by the monster. The man patted his shoulder. If you've entered here, you have to be cautious every second. The midnight banquet continues for 1 more hour. During that time, no monsters, not even the big boss, go upstairs. I asked, what happens after that hour? Find a hiding spot. Whether you survive to dawn is up to fate. He briefly summarized. 15 players entered Yulin Castle dungeon originally. Now the dungeon's story is over halfway done, and more than half the players, including me, are dead. Only 5 remain. In the morning, all castle monsters sleep deeply. At midnight, they wake. They hold a 1-hour banquet. During this time, players can't be on the first floor and must find safe hiding spots, because after the banquet, the real monster frenzy begins. We have to split up. The more people hiding together, the higher chance of being discovered. Checking his wristwatch, the man said, no time left, 15 minutes until the banquet ends. You two should find hiding spots quickly. Hopefully, we'll all meet again tomorrow. The chubby boy and I exchanged glances and hurried to hide. Time flew. The castle bell rang again, signaling the banquet's end. The night of prizes officially began. I hid under an old bed in an empty room at the end of the second-floor hallway. The room had a rickety bed and an old wardrobe that could also be a hiding spot, but I heard a player hiding in the wardrobe was caught by a monster, so I didn't dare risk it. Though the floor was carpeted, I still felt icy cold. I couldn't understand it. This morning I was leisurely enjoying breakfast, and now at night I was trapped in an eerie ancient castle, facing mortal danger. Also, that big boss who looked exactly like Gumaki. Though they looked alike, my feelings for them were completely different. Gumaki never looked at me with such cold eyes. When he talked to me, his voice stretched lazily, clengy. But this dungeon's big boss gave off a diseased, gloomy aura like looking too long would pull me into an eternal abyss. Minutes ticked by slowly. I'm exhausted from today's strange events. My eyelids struggled to stay open, and finally I drifted off. Before sleeping, I faintly heard footsteps. A pair of shiny black boots stopped by the bed. I thought I wouldn't survive until morning. Maybe when death nears, one recalls all life's moments. I dreamed of the first time I met Gumaki. It was a rainy day. I saw him in a lonely alley, covered in wounds, dazed against a wall. I couldn't bear it then and brought him home. Unexpectedly, he captivated me. A male and female roommate living together long term, plus his stunning looks, I couldn't help but fall in love. But he wasn't gentle from the start. He was indifferent, staring coldly and distant. His gaze gave me goosebumps. Yet he never caused trouble, obedient as anything, eating when told, sleeping when called. Later he even started helping with chores. Once I worked late till midnight. Returning home, he sat alone on the sofa. The food on the table was cold, his first meal cooked. Not wanting to discourage him, I ate a lot. The taste was weird. I got diarrhea all night and caught a cold, clutch in my stomach when I left the room. The man outside, beautiful eyes looking at me, said, "Can you not eat that?" We tiptoed, gently patting his head. It was his first time cooking for me, of course. I had to boost his confidence and look forward to his progress. He seemed cold but innocent. Under dim light, I saw his ears flush red. Such a handsome, aloof guy slowly became my considerate and filial boyfriend. Filial piety is a classical tale, 24 exemplars of filial devotion from ancient times compiled by Go-Jui of the Yuan dynasty. At home, we wrapped around each other, kissed, and did all the things lovers do, sharing indescribable feelings. I watched his gaze burn brighter into the night. We held each other, inseparable. He loved using his black tentacles to coil me tightly, as if grafting my body onto his. Wait, where did these tentacles suddenly come from? I jolted awake, realizing I lay on a soft, large bed in a strange room. A warm fur blanket covered me. Confused last night, I hid under a bed in a tiny storage room. Now here, before I could understand, the bespectacled man's voice came from outside. "You were lucky to survive." "Where did you hide last night?" The chubby boy replied. "I hid in a big rice bin in the kitchen. It was big enough to cover me." "Smart choice. Looks like putting you directly into an S-rank dungeon wasn't unreasonable." I pushed open the door. They looked startled but relaxed when they saw it was me. The chubby boy exclaimed happily, "Great, you're alive too." The bespectacled player looked at us incredulously for a while. "Big fate." Comments flooded in. "Not bad too, newbie surviving to dawn is rare." The chubby kid was scared like a wet dog, plus the big boss appeared. "Still survived. Potential there. This dungeon keeps getting more interesting." I'm impressed with Joan Tao come from the start. At first, I thought she was a lucky noob. "Did you see the room she came from? Oh my god, wasn't someone killed in that exact room before? If I recall, there was a headless maid in that room, yet she survived. Incredible. Looking forward to these two players. Not sure if they'll survive the dungeon, it's tough." With the big boss around, even if not all survive, and ending with some survivors is still good. These two players have difficulties, but I'm actually optimistic. No big character comes from safe places. I bet they'll make it this far. Voting yes. Did you forget the big boss's strength? That all players will be wiped out this time. By day, the castle turned eerily silent. Yesterday's lively banquet seemed like a dream. All surviving players gathered. One was eliminated last night. With me and the chubby boy, 6 remained. They were shocked to see us, not expecting newcomers halfway through who had made it past the night. Time was running out. We had to quickly locate the missing expedition. A player stood for 3 days. All castle monsters sleep deeply. In those days, we searched every corner but found nothing. Only 2 areas left, the top floor and the basement. The chubby boy scratched his head. "Which 2 places? The basement is mysterious. Yesterday, I found its entrance. As for the top floor, that's where the big boss room is." Everyone's faces turned serious. Neither place was safe. After careful discussion, we split into 2 teams. The chubby boy and the bespectacled man would go to the top floor. The other 3 would go down to the basement. By day, the castle's quiet made you nervous. Only footsteps echoed on the stairs. While climbing, I observed carefully. After so much, I could no longer see the world scientifically. If I wanted to survive and exit, I had to be cautious. Though I didn't understand why I fell into this horror game, I could not die here. Thinking of the big boss sleeping upstairs, I couldn't help but touch his head gently. Could it really be Gumaki? If so, I was a player. And he was the big boss whose mission was to kill us. Would he kill me? Lost in thought, I suddenly noticed the blood-stained painting hung on the staircase wall. The woman in the painting smiled at me. Blood-red lips smeared. My heart skipped a beat. The floor was slippery, and I lost balance, falling backward. The next second, the force caught me from behind. Confused, I looked back, nothing there. The bespectacled man ahead saw me freeze and comforted. "Don't overthink once you're in the dungeon. No fear, only courage leads to survival. Keep moving forward." I thanked him. "Thank you, senior. Without you, the chubby boy and I would have died in last night's banquet." We were all players naturally. We helped each other. Survival was key as long as one lived. There was hope. I saw the fierce will to live in his eyes. The chubby boy rubbed his nose, embarrassed. "I'll do my best not to get in anyone's way." My heart grew more resolute. We will survive and escape. We proceeded, but the comment section was ablaze with speculation. Oh my god, did you see that tentacle reaching out from the shadows? Can't see it anymore. There, that tentacle touched player Zhong Tao. Why didn't those tentacles drag her away? If I'm not mistaken, just as Zhong Tao almost fell on the stairs. The tentacles gently caught her. What's going on? Hallucination? Must be. Tentacles helping players? They must have a trick. Don't forget the big boss waits upstairs. We have no easy path to the top floor. On the way, we found an old notebook in the hallway. It awakened a sleeping monster. A chubby maid wielding sharp scissors chased us. In the panic, I got separated from the others. They retreated to another hallway. I had no choice but to keep climbing. The higher floors grew quieter. Eventually, the only sound was my footsteps. Windows were covered with thick curtains. Chandeliers provided the only light. To my shock, I noticed an arrow sign on the wall, just like emergency exit signs in malls with words, Big Boss Room. Proceed straight ahead. It was the last room on the hall. No need to knock, just enter. My mouth twitched at the strange sign. Who'd hide and run straight into the Big Boss Room? That's the real monster. And what's with the cute aura inviting people in? Half an hour later, following the arrow, I dashed down the hallway. Every room hid a monster. They chased me relentlessly. Only one room remained, the Big Boss Fest. In desperation, I gambled and dashed inside just as a monster nearly grabbed me. The savage monster was blocked outside. But I dared not relax. Inside the luxurious room stood a large bed. The terrifying Big Boss, feared by all players, lay asleep. I tried to calm down and tiptoed onto the bed. While he slept, his cold, deep blue eyes were shut just like Gumaki. I searched the room. No secret compartments. So the expedition wasn't on the top floor. I had to leave before nightfall. Thinking this, my foot suddenly struck something black. Covered in black goo, I lost balance, falling onto the sleeping Big Boss. Comments exploded. That player's strong, even leaning on the Big Boss. Game over, she's dead. First time seeing a player so near the Big Boss. Newt doesn't know fear, but the Big Boss is so handsome. If he were a normal man, so many girls would want to be his girlfriend. Let me enjoy this beauty up close. Why did the screen suddenly black out? What's going on? The screen disappeared. I was oblivious to the comments, only feeling like I lay on a cool jade. I wanted to get up fast, fearing the Big Boss would wake angry. But I realized I couldn't move. Black tentacles had appeared from nowhere, coiling tightly around me, binding me to the Big Boss's body. What the hell? I struggled for ages, unable to free myself. The Big Boss remained asleep. I felt a bit relieved. I looked at his neck and carefully unbuttoned his collar. Fair, slender skin revealed itself. There was a familiar bite mark. A mark from one night when Gumaki lay with me in countless positions, and in anger, I bit him. The bite wasn't light. But he was happy. Darling, you bit too softly. Want me to bite you back? Yet now that bite was on the Big Boss. He was my boyfriend Gumaki. Before nightfall, I finally escaped the black tentacles and returned to the second floor. Survivors gathered again. The bespectacled man sighed. The basement is locked. No key means no entry. 2 days left before the dungeon closes. If we can't find it, we'll never get out. The atmosphere tensed. What were they talking about? I pulled out a large bunch of keys, each clearly engraved with room information. One was for the basement. Everyone stared at me, shocked. Where did you get those? I blushed slightly. These were found on the sleeping Big Boss before leaving the top floor. I didn't tell them the truth. Only said I found them in a storage room. Some were still speechless. I never thought I'd be this lucky. Time was tight. Tonight we had to act. At midnight, the clock chimed again. We dressed in medieval formal wear, carefully moving through the crowd. We headed for the basement. Everyone prayed the Big Boss wouldn't appear tonight. We were disappointed. He appeared and targeted us. When the man extended his gloved hand to invite me to dance, all other players held their breath. The comments erupted. Finally, the Big Boss is here. If Zhong Tao accepts, she'll end like the last player, dance until her limbs twist, then be torn apart. But if she refuses, the Big Boss won't be happy either. In short, no matter what, she's doomed. His dark eyes awaited my answer. I gritted my teeth and agreed. Then I signaled others to ignore me. I'll hold him off. Everyone else, get to the basement. Some players teared up, knowing I intended to use my death to buy them time, watching them leave for the basement. My heart tightened. The big boss led me onto the dance floor. His breath was cold and invasive at my ear. I whispered, "Gumaki, is that you?" The man didn't answer. He gently grabbed my wrist, guiding me to spin. The tempo quickened. I thought of the male player who died earlier. Comments streamed incense for me. To protect others, she sacrificed herself. I'm crying. Such a pity, a good seed. Wait, why did they suddenly stop hugging? Why is the big boss carrying Jiang Tao? I was stunned too. The man gently lifted me, climbing upstairs. It was dangerous during the day now. He walked lazily. He whispered lightly, "You stepped on my foot 4 times just now." I felt guilty, glancing at the familiar face above. Then unconsciously buried my face in his chest. He didn't blink. My emotions were a tangled mess. He placed me on the bed. I wanted to run, but black tentacles coiled around my ankles from the shadows, frozen. "Do you think you can escape now that you've come this far?" He loosened his tie and pressed down on me. "Be good. Tell me who brought you here." He nibbled softly on my ear. It was him. Then I froze. Didn't he bring me here? My confused gaze dimmed his pupils. "Baby, don't look at me like that. I won't hold back." The kiss mark on Gumaki's neck twitched. His cold breath brushed my face. He bent to kiss me, but I turned my head away. I said, "Have you eaten many people? Don't think about kissing me anymore." He feigned innocence. "I always brush my teeth well." I glared. "You really have eaten people." Seeing me angry, he laughed so hard his shoulders shook. "You believe everything I say? Then why didn't you believe me when I said I'm a monster?" Gumaki's hands cupped my chin, forcing me to look up. Everything unfolding, the black tentacles, the dark figure over me was exactly like that name. He pinned me down, playing with my body, chuckling softly, kissing me. "Now do you believe me?" My heart raced, whether from fear or excitement, I couldn't tell. His face close to mine. "Are you scared now?" I bit him sharply. "Scared my ass." Kumaki said, "You're a player now, so do I have to treat you like the others and kill you? Players who break the rules get punished." He lazily scratched my nose. I heard him whisper, "So, baby, how should I punish you?" I had a bad feeling. He was already familiar with every inch of me. He knew exactly how to satisfy my impossible desires. He only had 2 hands, but now with those countless tentacles. Who knew how many new positions he'd unlocked tonight? The only thing I could feel was the bloody moon outside the ancient castle. Tonight I trembled non-stop as I shakily descended the stairs. Only 3 players remained alive. 2 more died last night. I was still alive. The bespectacled player took off his glasses, wiped them carefully, then put them back. The chubby boy nearly cried. None asked how I escaped the big boss last night. They went to the basement, empty of any expedition traces. The dungeon only lasted 7 days. Today was the final day. If we couldn't find the answer today, only death awaited. I scratched my head. The players searched every corner but found no expedition. Strange. Oh right, I remember the diary I found. I hurriedly opened it. Inside were a few messy lines and a photo of all the expedition members. From the content, it was clear a member wrote it. The castle supposedly have countless treasures, so we came here. In recent days, the castle felt terrifyingly strange. More and more people disappeared. I could hear their voices everywhere but couldn't see them. Where are they? Where? Maybe I should leave. Ha ha ha. I found you guys. Turns out you were waiting here. I'm coming to you. The diary got stranger. The chubby boy nervously scratched his head. What does it mean? I looked at the group photo, feeling like I missed something. What could it be? My eyes accidentally glanced at the oil painting on the wall. I froze and suddenly realized everything. At the first floor banquet hall, everyone stared in confusion. It's day 3, but the banquet hall is still dark and ruined. After going downstairs, we looked at the painting at the end wall of the hall. There were many people in the painting. All looked terrified, staring outside the frame. I said, "Quick, find the people from this group photo." On the painting. We didn't hesitate, we began searching. Among those faces, I spotted the delivery man standing at the edge. Fog swirled around him, as did the dead male player from the banquet. He stood center, just as he did that night. It was true. My theory confirmed. The dead were trapped inside the painting. Found them. In the upper right corner, the chubby boy got excited. I looked over. There, a group wore special gear, faces full of terror. Their positions matched exactly the group photo. They were the Lost Expedition team, so they were inside the painting. Congratulations, players, you found the missing expedition and uncovered the true story. Players burned the painting within 2 minutes, then escaped the castle. A cold electronic voice echoed, "Hurry, burn the painting." The bespectacled man acted swiftly, setting fire to the portrait. The small flame hit the canvas and flared up fiercely. In moments, the entire wall burned. Countdown began. 10 players must leave the castle within 2 minutes. 1 minute 59 seconds. 1 minute 58 seconds. The cold voice ran again. "Run, get out," the bespectacled man shouted. Everyone, we frantically fled the castle, fire chasing behind. The chubby boy cried, "We're running. It's so hot." The male player yelled, "Hair's almost burning. Fire near my ass. Juntao, where are you?" "I'm here," I shouted from behind. "Keep running." The man with glasses sighed, relieved, looking at me. But when he saw me clearly, his eyes widened, heart skipping a beat. "Why did you bring the big boss out here?" The comment section exploded. "Tough, why would Juntao hold hands with the big boss?" First time seeing someone drag the big boss out. Does she want to die? We could have escaped already. A scheming man hidden on the stairs got pulled out by me, his words audible only to me. "Baby, hold his hand tight. Run straight. Go home with me." Comments, "This woman has the courage of a tiger and a bear's skull. Even the big boss wants to bring her home. Is this dungeon crazy? So thrilling." A bold female player appears out of nowhere, for power and lust. As we exited castle gates, brilliant light flooded. The last thing I saw were Gumaki's dark blue eyes. He suddenly hugged me tightly, kissing passionately. I returned, back to my clean, warm home, but Gumaki was nowhere. He hadn't come back yet. Then the familiar electronic voice sounded. "Congratulations to players who cleared Yulin Castle dungeon. Next dungeon, Midnight Surgery, will begin in 1 week. Players, please prepare." I couldn't believe it. It wasn't over yet. Part 2 is being updated. Look forward to Part 3 on my channel.